In the past, I did a video that was like my 5 favorite characters from Injustice 1 who didn't make it into Injustice 2. This time around, I want to do something similar to that, but change up the rules a little bit. I'm going to do a list of 5 characters and a bonus character who could show up in Injustice 2 as a premiere skin. I'll talk about the legitimacy of any of these premiere skins as I bring them up, the chances of them showing up, and etc. I don't consider all of these equally as likely or any of them likely at all. It's just kind of a fun thing, a mental exercise to figure out what premiere skins could or could not work. I'm of course going to start off this list with Shazam for Black Adam. Black Adam's moveset is very similar to his Injustice 1 moveset, and Shazam's Injustice moveset wasn't even close to Black Adam's, but I think that's fine. All of the animations that Black Adam does is something that Shazam could do, including the super actually, so I don't see a big problem with having Shazam do exactly what Black Adam does. I'm actually pretty surprised we haven't got a Shazam premiere skin yet. I thought Shazam was going to be probably one of the launch premiere skins or one of the first ones added after launch, and the fact that we haven't got him yet probably says that they're not going to do this one, which is again a bit of a shame because I think this one would work particularly well and fairly easily. Moving on to Doomsday for Hellboy. This one would be a little bit harder. Hellboy has some stuff that Doomsday wouldn't necessarily do, for example the pistol shots, but I think you could get away with it either replacing it with some type of energy blast or futuristic space type weapon, but in general I don't think this one is necessarily a good idea, but it's the best way to put Doomsday into Injustice 2 without doing some type of DLC pack that's like returning characters or anything like that. That being said, I don't think this one will happen, nor do I even think it's on NetherRealm's radar because it's such a specific one that doesn't seem very likely to me anyway. This next one seems to frustrate people a lot when I bring it up, but Deathstroke for Deadshot. The reason it gets people so upset is because Deathstroke has a very iconic part of his moveset, which is his sword. Obviously, a lot of people know Deathstroke for his swords and guns, and whilst he could do everything that Deadshot does in his kit, not having access to his sword is a big downside for a lot of people, and I agree with that. But that being said, the alternative to that downside is not having him in the game at all, and I personally am a big enough Deathstroke fan that I feel like I can look past him not having his sword and just doing everything that Deadshot currently does in the game as an alternative. Now this next one is a bit weird, and it's what I was referring to when I said the bonus character. I'm talking about Raven for Enchantress. So this is a bit of a question mark because we don't know what Enchantress is actually going to do in game. We don't know if she's going to float when she walks. Is she just going to do a regular walk animation? And depending on which one of those two things she has, I would either do Raven or Zatanna as an Enchantress premiere skin. So obviously if Enchantress walks instead of floats, I would like to have Zatanna be a premiere skin. And if she floats, I would like to have Raven be a premiere skin. I actually think one of these two is incredibly likely. It wouldn't surprise me at all to see a Raven premiere skin for Enchantress, but it would just be kind of a weird thing to have a returning character be a premiere skin at this point in the game because it hasn't happened yet. So having Raven or Zatanna come in as a premiere skin for Enchantress, despite the fact that it works so well, having a returning character be a premiere skin for the first ever time probably feel a little bit weird, and it would feel like, oh, why didn't we get Deathstroke? Why didn't we get Shazam? And I could understand people being upset about that. I don't think it would be too big of a deal because we would at least have a Raven and Enchantress premiere skin. But at the end of the day, I can see why NetherRealm wouldn't want to add a premiere skin like that because of the backlash of obviously not having characters like Shazam and Deathstroke premiere skins. And this next one, which is also a pretty obvious one, and it's actually fairly similar to the Shazam Black Adam situation, which is Sinestro and Green Lantern. Sinestro's moveset was very different to Green Lantern's in Injustice 1. That being said, it could totally just work, because of course Sinestro and the Yellow Lanterns, they have incredibly similar powers to Green Lantern, and he could pull off the super animation and all the other animations that Green Lantern has. Again, I don't see much of a reason for this one not to exist other than the amount of work that would have to go into it, and of course, setting that precedent of returning characters being premiere skins is probably a bad idea, because people would complain about not having Raven, Shazam, Dick Grayson, Deathstroke, and all of those guys. I should also mention that I think premiere skins like this would have happened. I think more premiere skins would have happened if source crystals didn't exist. If we had to actually pay for these skins and we were willing to pay more for them, I think we would get more, because obviously there would be a bigger reason for NetherRealm to make them. You want to incentivize these companies to make more of the stuff that we want, and the best way to incentivize them is to give them money for it. But regardless, I'm happy with the premiere skins we have in game. I certainly hope we do get more moving forward. I don't expect any of these returning characters to make it in as a premiere skin, but it's certainly something that would make fans happy, me included. Thank you guys so much for watching this slightly shorter than normal video. My name has been Bilbzy, and I will see you in tomorrow's video.